Hey there, how you going? Whoops, just got to turn a few things down, and I'm just going to quickly share in my secret coaches business group. All right, so share. Hey Mindy, how are you? Good to see you on the call. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Alrighty. We're good to go. All right. So today's conversation has been brought about by the session that I did this morning in my leveraged entrepreneur community. So I've got the ongoing membership program called the Leveraged Entrepreneur. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. You can start for $1. It's $20 a month and it is full of value. Anyway, so this conversation is a lead on from the stuff that came up in this morning's Q&A. And one of the questions that I was asked was about lead cost and the what lead should cost. And I spoke a little bit about the fact that it is really subjective and it depends on what it is that you're trying to achieve. But I just want to go back a little bit and share with you the different types of leads that I have coming into my business and why, and the different focus that I have for them and why the costs are really quite different. So there are some things that I sell where I'm happy to pay a couple of $100s per lead, and then there are other things that I'm selling that I prefer to pay, $2 or $3 a lead. And here's the reason. So my Leveraged Entrepreneur program, for example, as I say, it's an ongoing membership and it's $20 a month. And so when you're selling something that's $20 a month, it's really important to get that lead cost down because you want to obviously, every lead isn't converting. Obviously, you look at your conversion percentages, and right now mine is sitting at around 10%, so it's low. It's half of what I want it to be. Actually, I've got a goal to get my conversions to about 40%. So what does even all of that mean? So if you like, what is conversions? What does lead mean? What is all that stuff? Let's even go back a little bit further. Because if you're growing a coaching business or any entrepreneurial business and you're struggling at the moment, what I want you to know is that it's really just a numbers game, and it's a matter of persevering and getting your hustle on at times and working out always figuring out what is the next step and then figuring out what is the next step after that. And so with the Leveraged Entrepreneur program, I've been running my Automate Masterclass as a lead magnet. Those leads are dynamite. They're killing me. They're up around the $20 mark at the moment and they're not converting. I think I've had 1 in 20 convert from that. So that's, it's not a good conversion rate. But what's really annoying about that is the content is amazing and it's speaking directly to that program. So it makes sense, part of what's important with a good lead magnet is you move from, when somebody clicks on it and the audience is engaged and they like it, it's a natural next step for a percentage of those people to go ahead and purchase the program. And it's just not converting. And so, it's expensive. It'll probably convert, and it would convert better if I was selling something more high end. But that lead cost is too expensive. I need to get my leads for the Leveraged Entrepreneur to under $3. I need to get my conversion at a minimum of 20%. So that means I've got to just keep playing and tweaking. I'm looking at things like, is the market right? I've got to look at that audience and make sure my audience targeting is correct. I've got to make sure that when I get my click rate to about $1, so if it's costing about $1 for people to click on, that's good, that's acceptable. So when they click on that, then I need to make sure that they're converting. So if I'm spending $1 per click and they're clicking, but they're not converting, then there's a problem with the landing page. There's a disconnect between the ad and the landing page. So then I've got to play with that. So it's just a matter of working things out. Hey Belinda, how are you? So it is always a matter of figuring it out. So it's not a matter of saying, well, that didn't work and that's never going to work. It's like, okay, right, I've changed the ad image, that's not making any difference. I've changed the ad copy, that's not making any difference. I've changed the targeting, that's not making any difference. And now, I've changed the landing page. That's not making any difference. So then at some point you've got to cut your losses and go, you know what, this lead magnet just isn't working. But you don't want to quit too early. And so the other lead magnet that I've got going on for that particular program right now is I have my free program, which is Build Your Online Program in 5 days, or Create It. So you're not actually going to build out the program and launch it. You're basically mapping out your online program content and knowing what it is that you're going to be selling. I'm going to give as much information as I can for a free program, but I'm moving people into that program because I want them to go on and purchase the Leveraged Entrepreneur program. Those leads are they're $10, they're still too high. They need to come down lower than that. But I've also got a bump up. So when people sign up for the free 5-day program, when they sign up, they're knocked to another page that gives them the opportunity to buy my, basically it's my empire building checklist. It's all the stuff that I do every day in my business and the stuff that I did every day in my business to take it to multiple 6 figures really quickly. So that is a checklist and they can buy that for $7. So that negates a lot of the cost of the leads. I had that at $27. No one was buying it. I bumped it back down to $7 because I've run that same offer in other campaigns, and $7 seems to be the figure that people purchase, and it offsets the cost of the ads. So the cost of those leads, because it's such a low end product, I need to get them down, and I'm trying a lot of different things. So my Leveraged Entrepreneur program, it's freaking amazing, and I had such a good time in the community with the people this morning, and it's $20 a month. So I'm not letting that program go. It's growing very slowly. It's not growing as fast as I want it to, but it's okay. For now, that is, this tiny weeny part of my income. And until I figure those leads out, it's going to remain that. But it has the potential to scale to infinity and beyond. That's the nature of it. That's the way that I designed it. And over time, I'm going to find a way to get those lead costs down so that I can turn the volume up on the ad spend. It converts at the right amount, and I fill that program with the numbers that I want it to. So that's one idea of leads and the lead cost and why it's important to get lead costs down. But if I'm running ads because I want to take on private clients, or I've got a higher end coaching program that I want to run, I'm happy to pay $200 or $300 a lead, because I know my conversion is 1 in 4 and roughly 1 in 3 if I've got the market really nailed. And so I know that even if I spend $500 a lead and I have 4 leads and it's cost me $2,000, I know that I'm going to sell at least one person into a coaching program that can be anywhere between $10,000 and $25,000. So it's worth me investing $2,000 to getting 4 really good leads, because one of those leads is going to convert maybe 2 of them. So can you see the difference? So it's not always about getting the cheapest lead that you can find, because sometimes the cheap leads end up being more expensive in the end anyway, and they end up, they come through, they move through, there's no real engagement, they're not really invested, and they buy or they don't buy, and then they're gone. You can have a list of, I culled my list by 80% because a lot of those people that were on my list were on the list, but if I check the open rate, they weren't opening, so I just deleted them all, and now I get a high open rate. My open rate is anywhere between 40 and 60% every time I send out an email, which is really high. It's a smaller list, but the engagement is high, and I'd rather be dealing with real numbers. I'm not excited about having a list of thousands and thousands and thousands if no one's opening it. That's not real. That's an inflated sense of having a big list. If people aren't opening your shit, then they're not really engaged in your community, are they? So when it comes down to building a business and online marketing, you've just got to know it's a numbers game. And as I said, the Leveraged Entrepreneur has taken me longer to grow than I want it to, which is the only frustration I have for that is it is such a good program and it is so valuable, and the content that I'm putting in there is, I'm really proud of it, and the community is fantastic and they're really loving it. I just want more people to have it. I want more people to experience what I do on a regular basis, which is, wake up in the morning and have sales land in your inbox. You know, that's the reason I created that program. I created it because I wanted people to experience a feeling of making, you know, recurring, and it's not never passive income, but you know, very little effort for this recurring income model, and it will grow over time. I know it will. It's not huge right now, but it will, you know, and I've had recurring programs that have brought in tens of thousands of dollars every single month. And once you do the work up front, initially, there's not a lot of work to do after that. And I want people to have that. That's why I created it. I think there's no better way to make money as a, you know, even if it's not your main income stream, but as a secondary, or, you know, having a number of multiple income streams that come from passive and recurring revenue. That's a great way to run a business. That's when you move from being just a coach to move into being an entrepreneur. And so yeah, that's exactly why I created that program, and I'm going to persevere with it. And what I want you to know about that is I've been at that a couple of months now at least, and it's growing slowly, but it's not me saying that won't work, that's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I just need to figure out a better way to get people into the program, and a cheaper way to get people into the program, because when I do that, they're going to get in the program, they're going to love it. My retention is almost 100%. It's high, like people are enjoying the program. And then of course, when you want to run things like events, and you're running an event to sell a high-end program, you're going to pay more for the leads, and you want to pay more for the leads. You want to make sure that those leads are very targeted and very specific. So when I ran my Let's Do Lunch events back in 2015, I think it was, my leads were anywhere between $80 and $100 per lead, but I was converting 8 in 10. Like, it was high. The targeting was super, super high. And that paid for those people to move to the event, and then I sold them into a program from there. But it was okay to spend, you know, even a couple of $100 per lead there, because those leads were very valuable, and they were the right people, and they were the people who were prepared to invest $350 for a ticket to an event. So if you're, yeah, and I've covered a lot of stuff, and if the lead thing isn't really something that you're familiar with, or lead magnets isn't really the thing you're into, just know that for any business, if you don't have leads coming into your business, you basically don't have a business. So it's super important that you have that. And whether you're a coach, or doesn't matter what you are, you know, you need leads coming into your business. So you need to work out what is the best way, hey Jane, the best way for you to create leads that come into your business in a way that feels good for you. And then you need to determine, do you have a low cost product? Then you know that you've got to keep those lead costs low, and you've got to keep your targeting right. Or have you got something that's high end, and so it's okay to spend $200, $300, even $500 per lead, because you know your conversion rate, and you know that it's worth 10 times that for you income wise. There was something else I was going to say then about, yes, that's what I was going to say. So one of the things I was talking about in the live call for the Leveraged Entrepreneur this morning was when you're first starting out, it's the perseverance thing, you know. And so if you're, nice to see you, Jane. And so if you're doing discovery calls, so, you know, coaches do discovery calls all the time, and you might get to 1 in 15, 1 in 16, 1 in 17, and you still haven't converted yet, and you're thinking, this doesn't work. But you might convert on the 20th, and then you know straight away, right now, you convert 1 in 20. So then you can work backwards and work out your lead cost from there. What am I prepared to pay per lead? Because I know right now I'm going to convert 1 in 20. Too many people quit at 17, 18, 19, 8, 7, 6. You know, they might do 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or more discovery calls, and then pull the pin on it because they feel like crap because they're not converting. And it just means that maybe you haven't harness the skill of those discovery calls just yet, and you've got to get better at it. So you know straight away, okay, if on the 20th person you pick up a client, you convert that client, then you know that right now you're dealing with a 1 in 20 statistic. But then you'll get better at it, and the next sale might be at number 17, and then the next sale might be at number 15, and then you might get really good at it, and your next sale might be at number 9, and then you know right now my conversion rate is 1 in 9, and then you'll get better at it. The more you do it, you'll get better at it, and the more you know your product, love your product, trust in your product, can show people that it is a viable solution for their problem, hey Anushka, then your conversion rate is going to climb. And also that's going to be a lot to do with your audience as well, or your targeting. Who are you targeting? If you're targeting the right people, then it's going to be super easier to convert than it is if you're converting to a market that doesn't really want your product. So if you're not converting at a higher rate now, just keep going until you work out, okay, I'm converting 1 in 40 right now, which, you know, would suck, really would. But at least you know, hey, my conversion rate is 1 in 40. I know that for every 40 of these sessions that I do, I'm going to convert one person. And you're just going to get better at it. So it's a matter of really persevering and hustling and, you know, honing your skills and not giving up, because I honestly believe that anybody can be successful. They've just got to know their numbers, know how to improve on those numbers, and then from there, the sky is the limit, really. Once you get that part right and you work out which bits need fixing and how to make things better, and you watch your conversion numbers get better, then that's when you know you're on a winner. And nobody ever does it overnight. And what I was talking about in the group this morning as well is that, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs that you see, you know, you see them, they're like ducks on the water, you know, smooth and gracious, but they're kicking like hell underneath because they're hustling, you know, and that's the way that it is. It's never that easy. And I was sharing the story of, you know, when I was filling my Let's Do Lunch events, and I really hadn't run Facebook ads before, much before that. I'd run them to my Taekwondo school and I had that, but I hadn't really run them to, you know, fill an event or anything like that. And so I had no idea what the lead cost was supposed to be. And I was on a pretty strict budget at the time because I'd already outlaid the cost of the venue, and, you know, there was a whole bunch of expenses for that. And so when I was running my Facebook ads, I was on a limited budget and I needed sales to come in to fund my Facebook ads, because otherwise I was in the shit basically. And so sometimes, you know, I would have 5 leads come in and I'd convert, you know, I converted a lot of them, maybe 3 would come in. It's like, yay. And then the ads would run and the ads would run and no leads would come in, and it's getting close to the cutoff when, you know, Facebook basically say, you've got this much credit and then you've got to pay your bill. And every time a sale would come in, the money would land in my PayPal account, I'd pay my Facebook ads. It's like, whew, I can keep the ads running. And so this went on for, you know, a few weeks, and it would just be like, oh my God, the ads are going to have to stop. I'd make a sale, it would cover the cost of the ads, and we'd keep going. And I arrived there and ran those events and took my business from 0 to multiple 6 figures in a couple of days, like within 7 days. And that wasn't me, you know, doing it easy and having this grand master plan where everything went smoothly. That was me just having made a decision that, you know, this is what I'm doing. Not doing this thing is not an option. So I'm committed to this and this is what I'm going to do. Throwing money at the ads, not really knowing what my conversion was supposed to be. I think each bum on seat cost me between $80 and $100 or something like that. But they paid $350 to come along. So it all worked out in the wash. I made money on those initial events, even though I was prepared to lose on them, because I was making money in the program that I was selling at those events. But what I want you to know is you've got to take a risk sometimes, and you've got to go big. You've just got to really trust yourself and go big. And so if I had have said, oh, I'm going to spend $10 a day on ads or $20 a day on ads or whatever, no way it would have worked. For me, it was a huge spend. I got in there and I was spending $150 a day or something like that. Like now, I would know just to spend $1,000 a day. But back then I didn't know that, and $150 felt so much, you know. But it worked out, but I was committed to it, and I knew I had to persevere, and I just had to grit my teeth. And when it looked like those numbers weren't coming, I just had to, you know, hold the faith and know that what I wanted to do was going to really benefit people, and I really wanted to do it, and I believed in it. You know, I believed in the product, I believed in everything that I was doing, and so, you know, failure just wasn't an option. And that's the attitude that you have to have. So, you know, whether it's you deciding that you're going to create a more leveraged model, which is, you know, a lower, maybe even a lower end, like a membership based program like the Leveraged Entrepreneur is, and know that, you know, very rarely you're going to launch it and make $1 million overnight. You know, one of those like I've been at this for 2 months now, and I think I've got 15 people signed up. So it's not a fast process, but I have that going on. I have private coaching going on. I have other programs that I'm running. And so for now, that part is going to be small, but it will grow. You know, when the time comes that I have my 5,000 members in that program, which is the goal, then I can make some decisions about whether I run other programs or not, or anything like that. But right now, it's a big focus for me. I do my private coaching and other programs as well. I would do them even if I didn't need to right now, because I'm really loving my coaching. But just know what you want, commit to it, and you don't need to know the whole thing. You just need to know what is the next thing that you're trying to achieve, what's the next step. And so for me, you know, when I launched my high-end program, for me, I really chunked it down. I knew I wanted 8 women on that program at $25,000 a head. I had 7 sign up. I was okay with that. My secret goal was kind of like, if I get 4 to 6, I'll be happy. But I had no idea, you know, I knew what I wanted. Did I really believe it was possible? Mostly, yeah, but a lot of the time I doubted it. And so I went through this process, and I basically went, okay, so how am I going to do this? The first thing that I need to focus on is I need to fill 3 events. I think I only had 2 events actually, 2 events with 8 people in each event. That's it. That's all I've got to do. And I had, like I do now, I've got a whiteboard there with the numbers for my Leveraged Entrepreneur Program, the first 100 members, and I've got them in groups of 10, so I cross them off when I hit the 10. And I had 2 events, and I had, you know, 8 lines for each one, and I just kept checking them off. And then it's like, okay, cool. I filled 2 events, I've got 8 people. That was the first goal. That's all I focused on. Then the next thing was, okay, when I go to the first event, I need to convert X amount of people. And actually the focus really was on doing a really good job and making sure that they really enjoyed the day, because they were paying $350 for the day, whether they moved into the program or they didn't. They'd paid for that content and that program. So I spent a lot of time making sure the venue was beautiful, the workbooks were beautiful, all that sort of stuff, made sure the content was great. And then my goal for me was really to feel comfortable in the transition of sharing content and then asking for the sale. And I'd had experience with that before when I launched other programs in the martial arts industry for martial arts business school owners. So I'd had that experience and it felt pretty comfortable, but I just did not want it to be cheesy. I wanted it to be elegant. I wanted it to feel totally like it was their choice. I'm not into the high pressure thing. And at the end of the day, I moved 7 people into the program, and it really was beyond my wildest dreams. And then I launched again within the next 6 months, and I sold 6 women into that program. And then I launched in Sydney 6 months later, so in another state. And I also launched the online version of program with that as well. So it was a really big year for me, a big 18 months for me, really taking my business and exploding it. But it started with doing this stuff. It started with making a really committed decision about what I wanted to do. And I fell in love with the program that I was selling, and I fell in love with the result that I was going to get my clients. And then I was able to really feel in alignment when I went out there and started marketing it. And I actually had an absolute blast the whole time through that process of creating it, launching it, moving people into the program. It was all amazing. And it all came with buying traffic. And the Leveraged Entrepreneur will grow because I do a lot of free content, but I'm going to be pushing that out through, you know, boosted posts and things like that. And so that will come through leads as well and paid traffic. So if you're there and you're struggling as a coach or an entrepreneur and you're thinking, I'm failing, but if all you have is a Facebook page that you're asking people to share with your friends and family, then you're never going to cut it. So you have to get really smart about who is your market, how can I attract them into my world, and then what's the conversion process that I need to take them through. If it's high end, is it a one-on-one, you know, coaching conversation or discovery call conversation that I need to have with them? If it's low end, what is the funnel that I put them through? All of that stuff. And know that it is just a numbers game. Anyone can be successful. Anyone can, and it doesn't matter what it is. You know, obviously you've got to have a product that is makes sense and is solving a problem for somebody and something your market wants. But let's assume that all of that's in place. Then it's really just a matter of persevering and working things out. So, you know, my Automate Masterclass, which I love, which was the thing that was moving people into the leveraged entrepreneur, those leads are costing me $20, sometimes $40 a lead, and it's not converting. So it's like, I've got to ditch it and I've got to come up with something else, because I've tried all the things. I've tried changing the targeting, I've tried changing the images, I've tried changing the copy, I've tried changing the stuff on the landing page, and the conversions just aren't there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to ditch that, which is a bummer. Although I could potentially redesign it so that it moves people into a coaching package rather than the leveraged entrepreneur. But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. But this is all part of it, you know, creating your offer is the easy part, whatever it is. So creating your offer is the easy part, whether it's creating a high-end group coaching program or a membership-based low-end program. That is all the easy bit. That's the fun bit. So have fun with that, enjoy it. And then the difficulty comes when you're trying to work out, you know, how to get those leads in and the lead cost and the conversion and stuff like that. And that's where a lot of people quit. You know, like I spoke about having, you know, you might be 1 in 20 converting your coaching clients. Well, if you get to, you know, 18 and you quit, you're never going to know that. So you've just got to keep persevering, changing things, trying to make things better, and then over time you will prevail. Anyway, that is it for me, guys. It was a long one today, but it was just stuff that I felt like I really wanted to share with you, and I hope it helps. Let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. If any comments that you've got on any of that, any questions. And if you haven't yet, sign up for my Leveraged Entrepreneur program. You can try it for $1. It's the best program ever. If you want to take your idea to market in an online format, or you want to automate the leads coming into your business, then you need to be on it. You can try it for $1, $1. And then from there, it's $20 a month. Anyway, it's theleveragedentrepreneur.com. I'll drop the link in and you can have a look. But anyway, that's it for me today. Have an amazing day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.